If you've ever been to a show at the Theater of the Republic, and if you haven't, you really should go, you know that their productions are top-notch, Broadway caliber renditions of modern and timeless classics. And, if you're like most people, you simply go to the theater and enjoy a great show. But, did you ever wonder just how much work goes into putting on a show of the quality Theater of the Republic fans expect? Well, a lot of people just like you and me, have to give it their all, and then some, to make such a thing happen. At Christmas time, it takes just a little bit more. You see, lots of people that are necessary for bringing a show together do it because they love theater, they love performing, and they love to make sure you have a great time. Putting together a show for the holidays is special, because the holidays are special. One of the greatest things about this time of year is the music. So for a show, that has to be just right. As with every musical production, it all starts with the songs.
In my job as musical director, I am going to prepare the ensemble, and I'm also going to help prepare the solo vocalists. And there's a lot of overlap there in what you do to prepare these things. But the solo vocalists have a little bit more freedom in their own interpretation and that sort of thing. The ensemble, I want them to be able to listen to each other well. I want them to be able to say each word, sing each word, as if the person that's listening to them doesn't understand what it means. And so they need to be so expressive that the audience can understand what they mean even if they don't speak English. That's a little bit of a stretch, but that's the idea. So we work on vocal blend with the group, which is something we don't have to worry about with the soloists. They don't have to blend with anybody unless they're doing a duet. But anytime that there's a duet or a group scene where there's ensemble singing, you want it to sound like it's a group effort. It's not just everybody singing their own part for a big free-for-all. So there's a lot involved with blending and listening and making, telling the story through give and take and the ups and downs of the nuances of the music and making phrases and using the dynamics, the softs, the louds, the percussive times. And so there's a lot more to preparing the ensemble than there is for the soloists. The soloists know their part. They're not having to blend with anybody generally, but that's their turn to be expressive, their moment of glory, their time to shine. Well, since the Theater of the Republic is, as I said before, community theater, people come with all kinds of different abilities. They bring a lot of different things to the table. And so there's going to be a different level of excellence involved in who you get to turn out for auditions, what your talent is. And my thought about all that is it doesn't matter what you come with. To me, it matters that you want to work hard, and then we will take you and make you the very best we possibly can, given the time we have. And since it is community theater, time is a premium. Most of these people have jobs, they work or they go to school, so they don't have 6 or 8 hours a day to put into rehearsals. If you're doing professional theater, where it's a paid company, that's people's jobs. So they show up as if it's a 9-to-5 job or whatever. They show up at the appointed time, and that's their work day. So they have a lot more time and a lot more lead time involved in putting together a musical. What we do here is really relatively short for producing a full-length musical. Somehow it gets done, and it gets done well. We can take them wherever they start and go as far as we can, given the time constraints. And the great thing with community theater is there is talent everywhere. All the talent isn't in New York City. There's just tremendous amount of talent right here in Horry County.
While that's going on, the folks at the theater make sure that what you see is just as exciting as what you hear. And a big part of that is dancing. Dance numbers, with either just a few actors or the whole cast, add a lively and energetic appeal to any production.
What it takes to, when you have experienced dancers and non-experienced dancers, and to make them all look great and that they're all on the same level, is where you try to find a common ground in between the two. So a lot of times I will do like an easier move, and then throw some hard stuff in there. So you kind of push the people that are less experienced, and you push them to a whole new level that they never knew that they could reach. But then you also are still keeping it interesting for those people who are the experienced dancers, where, you know, they don't get bored when they're doing easier stuff. And a lot of times you can do easy things, but do them at a lot faster count. So where instead of doing things like a 1, 5, 6, 7, 8, you could do things like a 5 and a 6 and a 7 and an 8, where it's easier. So you're making those who are less experienced still look good, but you're also keeping those that are more experienced still interested, because they're doing easier stuff, but they're doing it faster, so it's more at their pace as well. And in the end, it kind of, you know, makes everybody look good, because you found that common ground. And ballet is the root of everything for dance, so a lot of times when you're doing things like a turnout of your knee or your foot, or the forced arch in your foot, that really can show a lot more. And then it also helps when you have less experienced people dancing behind them, and you have the formal trained in front of them. Those people will look at the formal trained dancers to see how they should be looking, the lines in their legs, the lines in the arms whenever they do arms and stuff like that. But also, you also can do more tricks with people that are formally trained, and that's not only with dancers, but with gymnasts or anything else like that. You can do lifts and feel more comfortable that they're not going to get hurt. They know how to take care of their body. They know how far to push it. So it's really good to have at least some formal dancers in a show, because it really helps the dance and pushes the dance up higher, and also helps the people around them.
Lighting design is a skill that adds so much to the presentation. Its importance can't be overstated. Where the light beams fall, their colors, timing, and spectacle can turn a great show into a fantastic feast for the eyes. Once the lights have been programmed and set based on the designer's skill and the director's vision, the light board operator has to make sure everything goes according to plan.
Lighting lights the stage, sets the mood, can do the passage of time. It just does so many things in a play. You know, it helps the director get his message across in how they have a particular scene during the show lit. There are times when only parts of the stage are lit, you know, so that way the light draws the focus of the audience to one particular part of the stage. It just, there would not be a show without lighting. You know, you can use all different colors, you can use special effects with your lighting to give it texture. Like if you're doing a scene in jail, you can make it look like they're jail bars, or if you're doing a scene outside, you can make it look like there are leaves on the trees. Or I remember doing Jesus Christ Superstar one time, and we used the lighting effects to help the audience visualize the blood when Pontius Pilate was crucifying Jesus, or, you know, when they were beating him. And the time of day, like in 1776, you know, that was a long day, and the lights would just get dimmer and dimmer to show just the passage of time. A lot of times whenever you're doing a scene, and rather than go right into the next scene, you have a little bit longer of a blackout just to kind of give a passage of time before your next scene.
And that means being in constant contact with the rest of the crew.
It's very important to be in contact with them, because at top of show, Paula will make sure that everybody's in place before she gives the sound cue and the light cue. A lot of times, even at, you know, after the intermission, there are a lot of things that are timed between sound and lights, and it's important that, you know, we're all going together or back to back, however, to make things work. So because I can't a lot of times see if the stage is clear, or if people are in place, so Paula has to let me know that. And then as far as the sound engineer, there are certain places in certain shows that he will give me a countdown to do this cue, so the lights will come up right when the music ends or right at a very poignant moment in the play. So yeah, like I say, the whole thing is definitely a team effort.
Sound design is perhaps the single most important part of a show. When it's done well, you usually don't even notice it, but it takes real expertise to make sure that the audio side of things goes well. Luckily, the Theater of the Republic utilizes a state-of-the-art sound system and a real sound engineer to make sure it all works.
When I'm doing a show, the first thing I do is I come in and watch a show to get an idea of how people sound and how they sound together. And then I go back and I program into the mixing console all the voices, and then whenever I'm actually running a show, I sit and I monitor and adjust, which means as I need to, I can move the individual faders. When I'm choosing sound effects and environmental sounds, the first thing I do is I read the script and mark in the script where they need to be. And then I go back to my library of sound effects, which is vast. And I try to choose things that the director would probably like. And then I give them to him for perusal. And then during the actual rehearsal time, I see whether the timing is right or not, and sometimes I have to adjust that.
Of course, in order to make sure that all of the people, sets, technology, and crew work together, there has to be someone in charge. During rehearsals and blocking, that's the director. But once those doors open to the public, it's the stage manager that brings it all together.
Communication is the key to ensure any production is successful. Not only do we have choreography and dance, but in all aspects of theater. The smooth transitions into the beginning of Act 1 and Act 2 throughout the whole show is a choreography between the stage manager, the light board op, the sound engineer. Sometimes light and sound cues need to go at the same time. Other times, one goes before the other. But regardless, the timing is critical, and the cue from the stage manager ensures this all happens. The stage manager ensures that everyone is in their place doing their job by instructing them on what they need to do and when they need to do it. Then we rehearse it, and when it comes time for the production, everyone's expected to carry out their responsibility and to help make the production run smoothly.
And of course, you can't have a show without actors. It takes all kinds of folks to put on a show. And at the Theater of the Republic, the actors are also your neighbors. Maybe your hairdresser, or your plumber, or the guy who coaches your kid's soccer team. They come from many different backgrounds, but they all have one thing in common. They love to get out there on that stage and put on a show for you.
Well, besides my love of performing, it's just the community here at Theater of the Republic. It's amazing, and I love being a big part of it. Honestly, the thing that separates TOR from any other theater experience is the family feeling you get from the people in this environment. Everyone treats each other so kindly, and it's just always fun here at TOR. You just don't. What?
So come on out to see a show this holiday season at the Theater of the Republic. And when you do, stop and say hi to all the volunteers who are there for one reason and one reason only: to put on a great show for you.